Hello. So here we are, Module 4, Lesson 3 on page 16. We are comparing quantities with percent. Essential question for the day, what formula can we use to relate the part, whole, and percent? So this one's going to be slightly different than what we did in Lesson 2. You'll also notice that over here on the side, I have our opening exercise will be done in class. We're going to do that as our warm-up when we get started in class. So go ahead, go across to page 17 when you are ready. Okay, so the members of a club are making friendship bracelets to sell to raise money. Anna and Emily made 54 bracelets over the weekend. Part A, they need to produce 300 bracelets. All right, by the end of the week, what percent of the bracelets were they able to produce over the weekend? Okay, so we know that 300 is the whole. Right? And if we go back up to the original, we also know that they have made 54, right? So 54 would represent the part. And the percent is what we don't know. I'm going to label that P for percent because I'm not very original. And we can use the formula that we were using all in lesson 2. Percent times whole equals part. Right? So drop in the pieces that we have. I don't know the percent, so I'm going to use the letter P times the whole, which we know is 300, and that is going to equal the part, which in this case is 54. All right, so to solve for P, I'm going to divide both sides by 300. And the percent P is equal to 0.18, which we know converts to 18%. Okay, part B. Anna produced 32 bracelets of the 54 bracelets produced by Emily and Anna over the weekend. Okay, so it says what? Write the number of bracelets that Emily produced as a percent of what Anna produced. So let's talk about how many they had total. They had produced 54. Right? Anna, we are told, produced 32, which means Emily, of those, she made 22, right? Just subtract those. And it says write the number of bracelets that Emily produced as a percent of those by Anna. Okay, so we're going to set this up pretty much the same way, but we're going to make one slight change. So Emily here, instead of being part, this is now a quantity. A quantity. And Anna, this one here, represents the whole. And again, we don't know the percent, right? We don't know. So I'll use the letter P for percent. So this looks very similar to our formula that we had before, but instead of part, we now have quantity because the 22 is not part of the whole. So we have our percent P times the amount that Anna made, 32, and that is going to be equal to Emily's, the 22. And we're going to find this percent now. So I'm going to divide everything by 32. So the percent is equal to whatever 22 divided by 32 is. So grab your calculator. And we get 0.6875, which when I convert to a percent is 68.75%. Okay. Well, in part C, I want to know, it says write the number of bracelets that Anna produced as a percent of those as Emily. So in other words, what happened is these have switched spots. So Emily, she made 22, but this is now considered our whole. And the amount Anna made, which we knew was 32, this is now the quantity. And again, I don't know the percent. It's unknown, that's what we're trying to find, so I'm going to label that as P. All right, so again, I'm going to make this look like what we had before, but instead we're going to have it be the percent times what Emily had, which was 22, and that is going to equal Anna's. All right, so if I divide everything by 22, the percent is equal to 1.454545 repeating, or 145.4545 repeating percent. Makes sense. Anna made more. It's going to have to be more than 100%. All right. I would like you to hit pause, but give me a second here. Let's kind of set this one up. There are 750 students in the 7th grade class and 625 students in the 8th grade class at Kent Middle School. What percent, notice we don't know, what percent is the 7th grade class of the 8th grade class? So in other words, the 8th grade class in this particular part is, or this problem is whole. And the 750 then would have to be the quantity. All right. Next part of it says the principal will have to increase the number of 8th grade teachers next year if the 7th grade enrollment exceeds 110% of the current 8th grade enrollment. Will she need to increase the number of teachers? All right. At this point now, I want you guys to hit pause and see what you get and compare your answer with me in a moment. All right. So here's my work. I said 750 is equal to P times 625. I divided everything by 625 and got 1.2. And then I converted that to a percent and got 120%. So the answer is yes, she needs to hire more teachers because 120% is greater than 110%. All right. Let's jump over to page 18, top of page 18. Here we go. At Kent Middle School, there are 104 students in the band and 80 students are in the choir. What percent of the number of students in choir is the number of students in the band? Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got going on here. We have 104 students in band. We have 80 that are in choir, and it literally says what percent, right? We don't know that one. So we can drop this into our formula. Our 104 in this case is our quantity, the 80 is our whole, and of course our percent is our unknown. All right, so let's jot this down. 104 is going to equal our percent, I'm going to use the letter P, times the whole, which is 80. Now in order to solve, I'm going to divide both sides by 80. The 80s on the right-hand side cancel, and I'm left with P. 104 divided by 80 is 1.3, or 130%. All right, let's try this last one. Kent Middle School, they have breakfast. It costs $1.25, and lunch costs $3.75. So what percent, ooh, don't know, right? We don't know, of the cost of lunch is the cost of breakfast. You can literally interpret that. What percent of, there's my multiply, lunch, oh, what do we know about lunch? Lunch is $3.75, is my equal sign, the cost of breakfast. All right, so breakfast, we know, is $1.25. So let's see here, what percent, I'm going to use that as letter P, of, I'm going to multiply, lunch, we know lunch is $3.75, is the equal sign of breakfast. Breakfast is $1.25. Can literally interpret that sentence. All right, so now that we have that, I'm going to divide everything by 375. And I find out that P is equal to 1/3. Well, when I convert that, that becomes 33 1/3%. All right. So I'm going to drop down. I'm going to skip exercise 4, unless you feel like doing one, but I'm not a big fan. And I'm going to have you guys write in the summary when we come back to class. All right. See you all later.